Oh man, you have to see my kid right now. He's on the counter grabbing something. I'm gonna change my name. I wanted to talk about this today and just be a little bit vulnerable with you because I think we all go through stages of life where just things happen in life where maybe like you had more free time, like kids and life and new opportunities, things like that, where people are just like, you kind of feel like a little overwhelmed, for lack of a better word, right? And I think about, I was thinking a lot about what Jess, the Zoom she did Monday before last about being overwhelmed. And I know for a fact that's why a lot of people get nervous when I talk about social media because they're already overwhelmed with it. So if you're not holding a baby or I'm jealous, by the way, I kind of want to hold her just for a minute. It's like the puppies. I'm like, just for a minute. If you can, I would like you to put one thing in the comments that overwhelms you about social media so that we can kind of, I hope some of the stuff that I talk about today resonates a little bit with you. And, like Jess was saying on Monday, whether you're, just starting this business a week ago, a month ago, a year ago, 6 years ago, like me, we're all on kind of different levels of our businesses and our lives and our goals and ideas, right? And so for some of us, like, I know people, and I have like a list of 4, but the 4th one will kind of go with this. One of the things that I realized really fast in social media is you can get into this really vicious circle of I'm not doing enough, or I am not enough, or I am not like that said person. And so I just want to remind you that no way, and this is something like a hard pill I had to swallow. No matter what, you're never going to be like that person that you're viewing, no matter what. You're always going to be you. And whether you step into that authentic self and really live up to your potential versus if you continue to just try to be other people or try to do what works for them. Like me, for example, JoJo can't try to do the exact things that I'm doing, and I can't do the things that JoJo does. So if we sat and we looked at each other and went, well, JoJo, I look at JoJo all the time. I'm like, man, she's a customer acquisition animal. I'm jelly. Like, what is she doing? Right? I just have to step in the potential, my authentic, and live to my potential in order to become the customer acquisition Sydney version. Right? Because I'm never going to be the JoJo version, but I can take things that she does and add them into my own life. Just like how you can see things that I'm doing on social media and add it into your own life. It's not made. And as much as I love social media because it helps people connect with people all over. It helps you. I mean, let's be honest. We all have our phones in our hands all the time. Okay. You can connect with so many people in a fast, like this. Like, I feel like TikTok's faster than the news nowadays. Like, you can literally look at TikTok and something is going on TikTok before it's even hit like anything. Right. Oh, I love you. See, JoJo, we can switch. Okay, delivery scares me right now. Okay, do you mean like delivery of your content? And I do want to know and don't be scared. I know people are scared too, but like, okay, for me, my fear, I guess, when it comes to posting on social media is that I'm consistent. But then sometimes when I get a little bit burnt out of not necessarily, just life in general, I fear not being consistent enough. So then I'll be consistent, but unintentionally. I'll show up, but it's just because I'm so like in the need to be consistent that I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to show up today. Like, actually, I have no intention of posting about this. I'm not even concerned who this follows, that's kind of one of my things. And I know that a lot of us have like the fears of even just showing up. Okay. So just know that the fear is kind of always going to be there. And I hope that doesn't scare you. You just have to go with it. You have to feel the fear and do it anyway. For me, I turn my fears into a little bit of a motivator after I do things, is being like, oh, okay, well, I didn't die from that. So I guess I could do it again next time. It wasn't that bad. The delivery of content scares me. What scares me? People not interacting with me, making sure I put out the right content. Okay. So I'm going to address all those. Making sure I put up the right content, Shar. The right content is you. The right content is whatever content you're putting out. I'm just gonna, because you put that out there and not picking on you, but don't overthink it. Don't overthink that you are going, is this right or is this wrong? Or is this something that Sydney's gonna like, or is this something that JoJo's gonna like? Like, it doesn't, we all think about the opinions of people. And as far as, I'm not going here right now, but like, as far as politics, right? Like when people post about politics on there, they're not worried about, is this right or wrong? Because whoever doesn't agree with them is just going to unfollow them, unfriend them, not engage with their stuff, right? It's a very easy way to figure out who you vibe with and who you don't, right? I always make jokes with Haas. I'm like, I'm feeling bored today. I'm going to go make a post in a mom group about how I turned Zane around in the car seat before he was 2. The people in there that will like die, right? And that's not the right content set per se, but I'm also like, I'm a laid back mom. I'm not the mom that follows all of the rules, and that's okay if you are, but I don't jive with those people then, right? I was the mom sleeping with my kid in the bed, not worried about, and not saying you shouldn't worry about it, but you guys get what I'm saying, right? Like, you're not always going to be the right person for everybody. And if you try to be that person for everyone, you're going to lose yourself in the mix, feel completely burnt out because you're trying to be too many people at once. The right content is whatever you put out that your audience likes to engage with. I loved your live of gardening. Please do more of that. I thought that was really cool. I didn't even know how big your yard was. And I was like, wow, that's super cool. I guarantee you, if you started making small videos about how, like even reels, about how to do certain things when it comes to gardening. I know nothing about gardening. I would love a garden, but I know nothing about it. I don't really have the time to learn it. I don't even know anybody who teaches it. So if you did something like, hey, how to keep a plant alive. I have this one corn plant. It's the only thing I've kept alive, knock on wood, you guys, because now that I'm talking about it, it's probably something's gonna happen. But I like literally will type in lowest maintenance plants on Google. Those are the only plants I can keep. So think about that. You've got so much built-in content, Shar. It's just a matter of finding the people to engage with it. Aaron's was people not interacting with me. I'm going to go with the same thing with Shar, Aaron. If you have your built-in authentic content, you want the right people interacting with you, not everyone. You don't want everybody's 2 cents on your stuff. You want the right people who are actually going to engage with you and your business on a consistent basis. I mean, at least I do, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, I don't like the people who just like my stuff once in a while, or, like the other ones from other companies who are just always watching me. Like, I like the mom that I'm helping out. That's like, oh my gosh, that was super, inside the mom groups. That was a really good tip. I'm going to follow Sydney. I like that type of stuff because I feel like that is going to last longer than you just liking my stuff here or there. So I know it's hard here too, but detach your emotion from the interaction that you get with people, the engagement that you get with people. It took me a long time to do this. So if you don't wake up tomorrow and feel that way, that's okay. It took me a long time to be like, okay, well, if one person likes my post, but that one person could become the next person in my business that goes 200K, then I'm not really mad that one person liked my post, right? But we also have this built-in society thing where we like value our worth on our likes and that's why social media can be this very vicious thing. And vicious, I don't mean it in a bad way, okay? When I used to work at Dollar Tree, they called me Sid Vicious. So it's not a bad thing. I think it can be a very vicious thing in a good way as well. But that's why I wanted to talk about being overwhelmed and giving you some steps to help you, because I think for me too, like everybody gets overwhelmed. I'm just being honest with you. And if you're doesn't matter if you're a parent or not, any of that stuff. I'm talking about business owning on social media can be overwhelming. There's a lot to do, just like Jess was talking about on Monday. Like, we're working our business, we're reaching out, we've got to post a reel, then we've got to repurpose the content. What I found, number one, okay, I'm gonna give you the 4 tips and I will leave them in the chat later, but the 4 tips. Number one, for me, always staying out of overwhelm is setting up that appropriate environment. And so for me, what I do, I always make a to-do list, okay? It's important to me. It helps me also measure, like, I'm reading a book right now called The Gap and the Gain. So I'll keep saying the gap and the gain. It helps me measure the gain at the end of the day rather than focusing on the gap. So if I don't make a list and I don't know what the hell's gone on today, but I'm like, I think did I make that reel? Did I post that reel? Did I repurpose it to my TikTok, or did I, Did I not even post on Facebook at all today? When I have a list and I'm checking things off, okay, real, done. Today I have posts about samples. When I check that off, then at the end of the day, I'm like, ooh, okay, good. Did my post about samples. I'm not feeling overwhelmed because I'm writing it all out. I'm saying, okay, this is what I need to get done. And it might not be today. A lot of my to-do stuff goes over into the next day, but I'm writing it down and I'm getting it out of my head. Overwhelm comes from inside our brain, too much shite going on. When there's too much shite going on in the brain, and I don't know about you guys, this might just be me, but you don't have to raise your hand. When I get overwhelmed, you know what I do? Absolutely nothing. Not a damn thing. I go sit down and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. I'm going to sit here and do nothing to make the overwhelm better, which makes no sense, right? And maybe we all have our different ways of dealing with overwhelm. Maybe you get super stressed out, but for me, I'll just kind of disappear for a second because I'm like, oh God, I can't do anything. So I'm just going to be over here. It's been a lifesaver for me. And I'm telling you this because I still get overwhelmed. Okay. I'm human. I'm not superhuman. Sometimes I wish, but I'm not. One of the ways that helps me, especially when it comes to social media, is writing that to-do list. Okay, for me, I've got follow up with my samplers too. It's not even about posting necessarily. I've got to follow up with these people who got samples last week. I've got to get my reel up. I've got to make sure that I go back in my stories. That's something I do every day, like my stories in the evening. So I have this running to-do list. And again, it can go into the next day. It's fine. But making the to-do list helps me not be so overwhelmed on social media. Like right now too, I've got, because I keep forgetting to tag my new people in the water challenge. So it's going on my to-do list every day, tag customers in water challenge. That way I'm not at 4 o'clock going, oh my gosh, I forgot to tag all of the people in the check-in and they're missing it, right? That's when people start feeling overwhelmed, is when they have all this stuff to do and they haven't done any of it and they're hurrying to do it really fast. That's not fun at all. I don't know about you guys, but I don't feel fun in an overwhelmed situation. I usually feel a lot of stress and like I need to throw a black label on my forehead and, run down the street. So set up that appropriate environment for you, whatever that might look like. Maybe it's the batch content. I know that helps me in my overwhelm, is I batch up my content. I will make posts as I'm thinking about it and store them in my notes. Again, I wish I was superhuman, but a lot of times I take posts from other people, just copy and paste them on my own wall with a picture of me to make like less overwhelmed, right? Repurpose things. I make posts like, I'll take something that worked 4 years ago that was in my memories and post it again. I did that the other day. I had like a quote, mind your own biscuits and life will be gravy. I posted that like 5 years ago. I just posted it again because I was doing a lot that morning. I didn't necessarily have the time to like think of something and have it well thought out. So just set up that environment for yourself so that you're not overwhelmed. And again, it's not going to happen all the time. So don't get on yourself when things aren't always going your way. A short pencil is better than a long mind. I like that. That's cool. So yes, that's something that's always helped me, y'all. And I do a to-do list for everything. I'm old school like JoJo. I have this notebook. Everybody always makes fun of me, but I don't care. My whole life is in here. Like I have like little sections too, like about house, like bills, then there's stuff for Lavelle, then there's when we have trainings. So that just keeps me, like on my thing today is Kroger, but keeps me from being overwhelmed. Okay. Number 2 is step back if you need to. I'm going to be the first person to contradict everything I'm saying to you right now, and step back if you need to. If you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling like you got so much going on at home maybe, or in business, or you just need to realign, just step back. It is perfectly okay. I think we think all the time that, I'm just gonna use Rebecca, okay? Let's say Rebecca's not on my team and Rebecca's on my social media. This is how our brains work. And I know I do the same thing sometimes, like, oh my gosh, is Rebecca going to notice that I didn't post about Thrive today? Do you think she's going to think I stopped thriving? Do you think maybe she'll think it doesn't work? Do you think maybe she's not going to join the business because I'm not consistent? Most of the time, Rebecca's probably doing something at home with her kids and she hasn't even noticed that you didn't post today, okay? They're not worried about it. We are worried about it, which is not a bad thing as a business owner to be concerned about your business. But if it's stressing you out and you need to step back and you're thinking to yourself like, oh, all these people are stressing me out, they're not paying attention. That's why I share with people when I talk about going live, you don't owe anybody anything. So when you come on and you're like, well, I haven't been here in a while, who cares? You don't even need to say that. They don't know, especially if you're adding new people to your network. You just added them yesterday, like, she hasn't been here in a while. What does she mean? Been where? They don't know. Only we feel like that. We feel like we need to share that, okay? So if you need to step back and realign, step back and realign. It is perfectly okay. If y'all see me not go live for a week, it's not because I died or something. It's because I just need to realign. I just need to realign with what's intentional for me and my business, because it's most important, number one, that you're aligned with what you're doing, you're enjoying what you're doing, okay? If this is fun and stressful for you, I'm sorry to have to say this, but you're probably gonna quit. Probably gonna quit because you're stressed out, because you're overwhelmed, because you want this to be fun, right? So step back, think about like, okay, how can I be less overwhelmed with what I'm doing? How can I figure out a way? And I'm gonna give you one of the best things that I do too. 15-minute intervals, okay? Take an hour for your business. I truly believe that each person on here has at least an hour in a day to work a business. And if you don't, stay up an hour later, wake up an hour earlier. That always helps my overwhelm too. If I wake up when everybody in my house wakes up, I'm so overwhelmed immediately, because I'm like, oh my God, I didn't have a second to like brush my teeth without Zane asking me like what continent has aardvarks or something. Like, it's always a weird conversation with him in the morning. 15 minutes, okay? So let's say 15 minutes of creating content. This is usually the 4 things I do. 15 minutes of creating content, 15 minutes of following up, 15 minutes of prospecting, so like talking to people about the business, and 15 minutes with engaging. That way I'm not squirreling out either. I'm the queen of squirrel, y'all know that. Like, I believe that ADHD, is that even a thing? I feel like we all have it. Why do we talk about it like it's just a thing that some people have? We all have it. I get on the computer, next thing you know, something's going on in the chat over here. And next thing you know, I'm on YouTube watching this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm supposed to be doing one thing. That's why you're getting overwhelmed, because you're not taking 15 minutes to focus on one thing at a time and just be done with it. Then you can check it off that to-do list and be done with it. It is really, I know it sounds so simple, but you've really got to be disciplined to doing it. Like, what I do is I set an alarm on my phone. Also, I set my phone on airplane mode when I do that, okay? I don't want anybody calling me and distracting me. It's 15 minutes. I usually call Hasso and like let him know, hey, in case you try to call me and I don't answer. But that way you're not being distracted by all of the notifications on your phone. This thing is what overwhelms us, right? Do that. Take that 15 minutes. That's literally 4 tasks in 15 minutes. But then you're done. An hour. Engaging, following up, pure prospecting. So I'm talking I was going to say drip list, but yes, drip list, going through those people that you're talking to just about business, right? And then 15 minutes of content. That could be you thinking of, okay, what should I post today? And if you think of something really fast, think of something to post for tomorrow so that you take that overwhelm from yourself away tomorrow. 15 minutes at a time, okay? The third thing that I would recommend that helps me a ton. Oh, did someone want to ask something? Or what happened there? Okay. Yeah, if you guys have any questions while I'm doing this, just go in the comments. Good, I'm glad, Donna. I'm gonna miss you too. I wish I could see you. We had to miss out on the San Diego trip this time. It was sad. We don't miss a lot of trips, but Haas's brother is coming in from Australia tomorrow. They haven't seen each other in 10 years. So it's gonna be a cool little time. So you're seeing me here. That's why. Number 3, you guys are probably not gonna like this, okay? Can you get your phone out if you can? I want you to do me a Flavor Flav. And I want you to go to, I just realized I have so many weird things that I say. Go to your settings, okay? Go to your settings on your iPhone. Jojo, I don't know where this would be at for you, but you might have the same thing. If you go down a little bit, there's something that says screen time. When you click screen time, it's going to give you your daily average screen time, okay? There should be other things like downtime, at limits, communication limits, blah, blah, blah. Under daily screen time, there should be a block that says, or a little arrow that says see all activity. I want you to click that. And go to, let's say go to yesterday. You can't go to today, obviously, because you haven't been awake very long, right? You don't have to tell me, but when you click yesterday, it's going to bring up your most used apps. Okay. And I want you to look at your top 4. And are your top 4 things that are helping you become less overwhelmed? So like, is one of them Messenger, so that you know you're messaging people and you're not overwhelmed? Or is like, and I'm not, don't worry, you don't have to raise your hand, but like if your top one is TikTok and you're not even posting any TikToks, you're overwhelming yourself. Okay. I'm just going to be the one to tell you that. Most people get overwhelmed because they spend a lot of time on their phone doing nothing, but you think you're doing something, but it feels like you're doing something, right? But you're really not. You're just scrolling and looking. And there's nothing wrong with laughing. I love a good laugh on TikTok. Don't get me wrong. Okay. But I am the person too, I will tell you, I get lost in the TikTok like hole because I swear, man, it's like Las Vegas. They put something in the air when you're on TikTok. Like you'll be on there, you're watching one video, next thing you know, it's like I set a timer on there. My timer goes up in 2 seconds. I'm like, what the heck? Have I been on here that long? And that's exactly why I set timers in apps that are distracting to me, because I need to know how long I'm wasting my time in there or how long I'm spending my time in there. So one thing you can do too, and look at that weekly if you want to. It's a good recollector to me because then I can go like, okay, you know, if this last week I was feeling very overwhelmed, but oh, I can look at my phone and say, I didn't take very good care of my time. Most of the time we're overwhelmed because we're procrastinating and we're putting off what needs to be done. So if you go back into your screen time where it shows you the hours used, you can go to app limits and you can set limits on apps. Oh, I don't know why I'm showing you guys my phone. You can't even see it. So I have a 30-minute TikTok limit. And so when I've hit the 30 minutes, 5 minutes before, like if I'm on TikTok, it will say you have 5 more minutes till your TikTok limit for today. It gives you the heads up. And then at 30 minutes, you have the choice to get off the app to be reminded again in 15 minutes or take off the limit for the day. And usually it's just a good like, hey, Sid, time to shift, you know? It's like the people who have an Apple Watch. Do you ever Apple Watch and it says, hey, time to stand up? And you're like, well, have I been sitting for a long time? Yeah, that's what these things are made for, okay? Same thing in your phone. Be very disciplined about what you're doing, especially if you're feeling overwhelmed, okay? If you're feeling overwhelmed, you need to look at you need to do the review part of plan, do, review. You need to review what you're doing. If you're just on Instagram, right? If Instagram's your hot one, but you haven't posted any reels on there, you're overwhelming yourself. And I'm not trying to call you out. I'm telling you this because I do the same-ish. And I'll look at myself and I'm so overwhelmed today. Sydney, you didn't even post on Facebook today. What the hell are you so overwhelmed for? I have to look at stuff and be like, oh, you know what? Okay. Calm down. I need to go through my time better and say like, okay, this, that. Good. I'm glad you learned something new. So I set timers on everything. Maybe it's a timer, and I'm not saying don't enjoy your life. Okay. If you like to play a little game or something, set a timer on it. Set a timer, say it's 20 minutes a day. And then what I like to do too, I play these games in my mind. I say like, if I don't get my 15 minutes of prospecting done, I don't get to watch my 15 minutes of TikTok, or I don't get to, go watch my show for 15 minutes at the end of the night or something. That way my brain goes, oh crap, I really need to get that prospecting or that follow-up done now. It'll only take 15 minutes. And before you know it's done. And then you feel so much better about it. You're tooting that like horn inside of yourself. And again, this book that I'm reading called The Gap in the Game, they talk about how inside your mind, like when you do stuff that is rewarding to you and makes you feel good, it makes you want to do it again. You're happy about what you did, so you want to do it again and again and again. And energy goes where energy flows. So if you're feeling good about something, right, you're going to bring in more good energy. And then the fourth thing that I'm going to tell you that will help with overwhelm is stop comparing yourself to everything and everyone when it comes to social media. If you have to go through your friends and unfollow and unfriend some people, I will be the one to tell you, do it today as soon as we get off of here. I don't really follow anybody that's in any other network marketing business that revolves in health and wellness. This is just me. I don't have an interest in it unless we're like friends. I just don't have an interest in trying to recruit someone out of another company. I don't like doing that. I don't follow anyone who makes me feel like I'm not doing enough. So there are some people who are like straight up animals. And I'm just, you know what, actually, I'll be very honest with you. I had to unfollow Jessie Lee Ward, and I love her. But the woman was making me feel like I was never doing enough. And I was like, you know what? I had to unfollow her. She was like constantly going live. And if I didn't go live for a day, I was like, you know what? I'm a piece of crap. Listen, you want to talk about self-talk and stuff? That's why I was like, we need to have this talk out loud because Cindy is probably the number one offender of this. I do that imposter syndrome stuff too. Like, oh my gosh, well, I can never be like that girl. So how would I create what she's created? I'm going to create it in my own damn way, in my own way with my own people that align with what I'm doing. You can't get in that overwhelm of comparison. And that's why you really have to delete and unfollow. And maybe if it's people here, maybe it's me. I don't mind. I'm not going to be hurt. I want you to live in the best version of you. And if someone is blocking that, politely move them out of the way. It is okay. And I know a lot of us follow a lot of people that are successful, and I love doing it because it's a great way to see the path that's been blazed for you. It's a great way to see that other people can do it, so can I. But if you're getting in the trap of, man, can I do it the way they did? Or I didn't do this, but they're doing it. You're just getting in this comparison lane. And nobody can be you. Nobody can be or tell your story. So when we get into this comparison, we're comparing ourselves to someone else that we don't know their life, their story, their stuff. They could be just as overwhelmed as you do, but they just went live really quick and they hung it up and went, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed, right? So stop comparing, delete and unfollow if you need to. Set time limits. This is number 3, set time limits and get rid of anything mindless on your phone if you're feeling overwhelmed. If you're feeling overwhelmed, I just want you to take a gut check of what's going on around you, what you're doing. Okay. Number 2 is step back if you need to and realign. Say, hey, what are my goals? Holy crap, what are my goals? I had to step back the other day and say, like, what do I really want? And I'm going to show you guys this little paper. I'm a goal chaser, but I'm not a visionary. Okay. I'm a very realist person. So I remind myself that I constantly have to write things down to see them. I can't just go, oh, you know what? I really want to go to Alaska with Haas for our 10-year. Cool. Unless I write it down and I see it every single day and know that that's my goal of stuff I want to do, it just doesn't stick in my mind. So realign yourself with your goals and what you want and who you want to help and how you want to help them. I would recommend like taking a journal like this weekend while you're just chilling, maybe Sunday, and recollect and just write some things down. Like, why did you start doing this? What brings you joy in this business, in this product? Do you get like, I know that it brings me so much joy when a customer messages me and tells me like, oh my gosh, this stuff is incredible. I didn't have any coffee today, or I loved this about it. That brings me joy, helping other people. So don't feel bad if you need to step back and realign. It's what you need to do. One tip I do when I do that is I usually like message Jess, your upline, and just say, hey, I need to like 24 hours, bro. So you don't want people being like, are you okay? I love social media, but like literally if I disappear for like 10 hours, people are like, are you there? Are you okay? What are you doing? And I'm like, oh my God, I love you guys. I just, have this going on or that going on. We all have lives too. Okay. Remember that. You never know. You might get up and you might be determined to have the greatest day ever. And next thing you know, something happens that takes a left turn. That's okay. Don't be so hard on yourself all the time. We're all human. And then number 1 is setting up an appropriate environment for your social media so you don't get overwhelmed. If that's to-do lists, okay? And I'm gonna tell you something again, if this is contradicting, I'm sorry, but I'm just being honest with you. Don't show up on stuff if you don't feel like it's necessary, okay? I don't need you making TikToks if you're overwhelmed by it and you don't even feel like it's benefiting your business. Don't waste your time then. Go back to Facebook. I've made all the income that I've made, 6 figures, multiple 6 figures, all on Facebook. Facebook. I do other things, but that's because I enjoy doing them. They don't overwhelm me right now. They used to be honest, okay? I set up a system now that doesn't overwhelm me. But if Instagram overwhelms you, back off of it a little bit. Just stick to what you know so you're not feeling like you're not doing enough because you are. And I want to remind you this morning, before we hop off, you are 100% capable of having what anybody has. You're 100% capable of wanting and getting whatever you want. You are worthy of it. You are enough. You just have to go out and get it. You have to decide whether you are going to sit and want the things you want or if you're going to go and get the things that you want. Okay. I love you guys. I hope you got a lot from this today. I'll throw the 4 in the chat or in the team page so that you can send them off to friends as well. And again, if you have any questions ever, you know where to find me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.